It is your weekly show here on the Blue Room. Just a reminder, if you listen to the podcast, that is our new theme tune. It's by Zuzu, who is boss. She's a toffee. Go and listen to all her stuff. She's amazing. And again, thanks very much to her for doing the theme tune. If you're watching us on YouTube, go and listen to it anyway. It'll be out on the podcast, but it's a nice little jingle she's been kind enough to do for us. So yeah, go and listen to her stuff. I've also got 3 boss guests today. Starting off with Oliver Healy, who revealed on Twitter this week that he's just starting to watch The Wire. How are you getting on with it, mate?
Very good so far. I'm just at the end of season 1 and I'm loving it. Like it's unbelievable. Like everyone said it was a slow beginning, but I've got straight into it straight away.
Brilliant stuff. No doubt. Well, actually, our next guest as well, Les Roberts. I mean, you've done a video this week, mate, but we forgot to mention your roaring success with AC Hoylake this weekend.
Yes, didn't we? It was the high points of the weekend, the 4-0 win away at New Ferry. I thought it was in for a terrible Saturday because I had to go to New Ferry for 9:30 and then get back for 11 at 12:30. The lads pulled it out the bag. Great win, convincing win. So it's Asheville away in Wallasey on Saturday.
So a big one, is it?
Yeah, I think they're a place above us and a couple of points, so we can leapfrog them, march up the table. Job's a good one.
There we go.
What we love to hear.
The Wirral Angelotti, yeah, absolutely. Maybe that's not a compliment at the moment, actually, to be fair, mate.
I wouldn't play that formation, mate. I know better than that.
AC Hoylake will never play wing backs ever at that level. But and also join us, and we should say congratulations to Sarah Halpin, who picked up a silver medal at the Football Blogging Awards or Football Content Awards. Now, they seem to change the name every year. Sarah, but I was just saying then before we came on, let's be honest, the reason you didn't win is because you won last year and they couldn't give you 2 years in a row. So well done on that.
Oh well, I'll take that, Matt. I'm not so sure that's the reason myself, but I'll take that all day long, and that's it's a massive compliment. No, and do you know what, the girls in the category, and not just girls, the people I was up against in the category are all amazing. So yeah, I was pretty gobsmacked to get recognition for a second year on the road, but it's always a really lovely thing, and appreciative of all the really, really lovely comments I've had from Evertonians and stuff as well, and for all the votes and stuff, and helping me get there. It means an awful lot to me. So thank you so much, and do my little bit to bring a bit of silverware back to Goodison Park, can you?
absolutely, yeah. Just you on your own at the moment, sir. Just the one person crusade to get some silverware in our trophy cabinet.
This is it. It's got to be done, mate. It's got to start somewhere.
well. Obviously the Gales came close earlier this year. We'll be chatting about them a little bit later. They've had a bit of a dip in form recently. We'll have a chat with Sarah about what's been going on with them and why they're finding it so hard at the moment. The lads could take a step towards silverware in December. Obviously, play Manchester United later this month. We're going to have a chat about the festive period as a whole. I wouldn't use the phrase I used to describe what December is going to be like before we started recording today, but it's going to be hard by the looks of it, isn't it? So we'll have a chat about that. But a few other topics to start off with. Alan, I'm delighted you're on tonight, mate, because I was sort of sitting there thinking about things we could discuss last night, and lo and behold, Ronald Koeman's Barcelona slipped to a 3-0 defeat at home to Juventus. Could have been actually a lot worse for them on the night from what I've seen of the game. And this is after they got beaten by newly promoted Cadiz in La Liga at the weekend as well. And it's probably fair to say that while I didn't expect it to go particularly well for the former Everton manager there, it's going a bit worse than even I anticipated it would.
Yeah, it's funny because I work with a lot of people based in Barcelona, so the feeling about Koeman there is that he's a legend. I didn't realise how much of a legend he is at the club until he was appointed there, because obviously I wasn't born with a player. But he's really well known there and really well respected. So the idea was that he'd come in and he'd have the kind of gravitas and respect to kind of maybe not revolutionise the club, but get it under control and kind of get the players playing the way he wanted to be playing. Kind of set things up for the next kind of few years to move on. Basically, I was kind of surprised because I was kind of surprised because I was surprised how well known he was, basically, and well renowned he was. But then the way things have gone, I'm quite pleased, to be honest, because as I've said before in the past, many people, I think there's few people who've done more damage to Everton in the last decade than Ronald Koeman, along with Steve. So reports today coming out that he's under pressure from players within the camp that a lot of players are kind of questioning his methods, his tactics especially. They respect him as a person, but they don't like his reliance on the 4-2-3-1. He's kind of way too narrow. He's not giving a situation where there's a strong fluidity between the kind of attack and defense. It's kind of very separate, you know. So they're not impressed with him at all. They're 9th in La Liga, and now they're 2nd in their group in the Champions League. So they'll be probably drawn against a tougher team in the last 16. So it's not looking good by any means, though.
Yeah, it's been tough for him, hasn't it, in that regard there. And Sarah and Les, I don't know how much you've seen of Barcelona this season, but I'll just quickly read out this extract that Sam Reed sent me on Twitter yesterday. This is from Sid Lowe's piece in The Guardian, reflecting on Barcelona's performance at the weekend. Just see if this sounds familiar at all. It said, Koeman complained of a lack of attitude, no aggression, no pace, no confidence at the back. It is a recurring theme. After one game, an opponent could not believe what he had seen, saying Barcelona had walked. More worrying might be that when they do try, it's no guarantee either. Although results in Europe make all this harder to explain, structurally, it does not convince. The 4-2-3-1, with its overload of number 10s, exposes the middle two and squeezes the men ahead of them, everyone turning inside into heavy traffic. The same space is occupied by many footballers, largely getting in each other's way. Chase a result and it gets even more crowded. Every attacker thrown on. There's a predictability to their play, sterile and vulnerable. Does that sound familiar at all?
Well, I just want to thank you there, Matt, for triggering me with my taking me. I'm not going to sleep well tonight now, but no, you can't help but sort of laugh listening to it. You know, when they're talking about the overload of number 10s, players getting in each other's way, the fact they're all walk. It is just, you know, he's clearly somebody who's had an incredible career in the game as a player, but as a manager, and you know, as Alan's saying there, he's clearly a legend within the club, and that must have had something to do with him getting the job there. But yeah, like you, Matt, I didn't expect him to do well, but I mean, I'm quite staggered. And of course, seeing the fallout in the Juventus game where he's turning and arguing the Juve bench and they're laughing at him and all this, I just thought, wow, you know, this has gone to a different level than what I thought it would.
Yeah, it feels like he's not far off going, you know, full Phil Mitchell, is he, Les? You know, turning up to the game
on the way, isn't it?
In a trackie and stubble.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. He's definitely on the way there, isn't he? I don't think he ever done anything managerially to warrant getting that job at all, did he? I'd love to know if this number 10 thing was a pre-Everton thing as well, or just something he picked up and seemed to like when he joined Everton. Some of that at Barcelona as well. But yeah, I think as Alan said, he's a massive legend in Barcelona just because of what he did as a player. Remember when we went over to the new camp? I think it was the summer we got him as our manager. I was buzzing off seeing pictures of him everywhere, thinking, oh yeah, there's our manager. He's a Barcelona legend. How can this possibly go wrong? And obviously, you know, it did quite spectacularly. But yeah, he never did anything managerial-wise to warrant getting a job that big. It never felt like a good fit to any of us, did it? I haven't seen what happened at Everton. So yeah, all the best to him.
Yeah. Did you sort of get the sense, Al, at the start of the season that he was always going to be a bit of a sacrificial lamb? They just needed somebody there to oversee this season, which is going to be Messi's last at the club by all accounts, before Xavi potentially takes over when he's ready. Obviously, they'll talk about him taking it this summer, but he decided, you know, fair play to him, that I'm not going near that for a while. Yeah, was there always a sense that this was coming, but they just needed somebody there to effectively fill the role as manager and then eventually get sacked?
I'd say at Arsenal, for instance, I think it shows how important it is to pick the right job to enter your managerial career with. So for Xavi, I think he wants to wait until after the 2022 World Cup is what I hear. He wants to stay in Qatar until then. Because if you came into Barcelona at this time as a young manager, no matter how highly rated you were, it's a very dangerous situation, because if you fuck up the first job, you're in serious trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think Koeman took it because he was desperate. It's the job he always wanted. I remember he had FCB in his carriage when he was at Goodison. And he knew that in good times he would never get the job. So the reason he took the job was because his status as a player was great enough that he could command respect and he could satisfy the fans a little, as if, say, maybe Duncan Ferguson got the job for us and did the same thing. But like, I remember another person I worked with is from Valencia, and he's also hated in Valencia because he kind of he steered out some seriously senior players of Valencia in kind of late 2000s, and they won the Copa del Rey, but they had a terrible league campaign. So he's despised in Valencia as well. So we're having a conversation at the beginning of the season with Barcelona journalists and stuff, and they were kind of saying, no, give him a chance, he can do things well. He was doing well with Holland, he did well with Southampton, and we were both saying, listen, we had him 10 years apart. He's a disaster. Like, he's lazy, he's arrogant, he's tactically inept. Like, so yeah, I think he was definitely a patsy, basically, to be honest. I think he was arrogant enough to think that he could pull it off, but he's not going to.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to go particularly well there for Ronald Koeman. Maybe he just needs to get Sandro back. He's there at Huesca now, and I don't think he's doing particularly well. Maybe that's the dream team. He needs to reunite us to get this all going.
Yeah, I know.
But he could do a lot worse.
Absolutely, but yeah, tough times for Ronald at Barcelona. I just thought it'd be something I'd been interested to stop the show on. Sarah, have a chat about the girls as well. It'd probably be fair to say they're not going through the best of spells either. And I think when we spoke about this after the FA Cup final, it's something we sort of indicated might happen, that, you know, going in straight back into a season and having matches to play straight away was always going to be hard for them, because I think in most cases, if you lose a major final, then you've got a few weeks off, you can get your head right as you come back again next year. But the girls weren't able to do that, and it does feel as though that loss at Wembley has knocked them a little bit.
Yeah, I think, you know, as well, after Wembley, the first game we had after that was Chelsea away, and it ended up being a 4-0 to Chelsea. And it was, honestly, watching that game with about 15 minutes to go, it was still only 1-0, and you felt like Everton could still draw this, if not win it. It was that close, but it was, you know, we keep conceding goals. Again on Sunday, we lost 3-0 to Manchester City, but the girls conceded 2 goals in 2 minutes and then 1 with the last action of the first half. And it's just those, I think, margins and switching off for little moments, little mistakes, that against the top teams we're getting punished. You add to that the fact Valerie Gauvin hasn't played since Wembley. We've had Simone McGill missing, Claire Emsley. You know, we have been hit quite hard with injuries. Lucy Graham was missing for a while as well.
Oh, we just lost Sarah there. We'll try and get her back. Don't know what's going on there. We'll come back to that at the end of the show anyway. I know she's back again. We've got her. Back. Sarah, the last word you said with Claire Emsley, I thought that might have been the final straw. I don't know if that's anything, an indictment on Claire at all.
It's Claire. She drove me to it, mate. No, sorry about that. I've been having trouble with my Wi-Fi a little bit this week, but no. You know, the players that we were missing in Claire, Val, Simone, Lucy for a while. I think missing those players kind of hindered us a little bit, you know, in terms of certainly going forward, and those players that you rely on to put the ball in the back of the net. And I think you lose a bit of confidence, you know, where it's the same with the men's team. Spirit of the Blues is going, everybody's doing well, everybody's having a great time, we're winning every week. And when you do stumble upon hard times and you concede in goals and, you know, not quite getting the results that you want or deserve sometimes as well, it's all about how they bounce back. And thankfully, we've got a few games coming up. We've got Birmingham this Sunday, and hopefully that'll be the 3 points to get back to winning ways. We've got United in the Cup and Arsenal, but then there's a bit of a break. And I think maybe if we could get the 3 points against Birmingham this weekend, keeps us right up there then, and gets us back in that winning mentality, and hopefully heading into Christmas with a bit more confidence and waiting for players to come back in as well. So I think we have to win on Sunday, because the real ambition was Champions League, you know, this season. And I think if we're to stay near that, we've got to get the 3 points. But we're definitely still in it. But yeah, we need to turn these disappointing results around quickly.
Yeah, it feels like the game this weekend for them is very much what Burnley was potentially for the lads last weekend, where, you know, I couldn't believe the run of fixtures they've got actually when I looked it up today, because it feels like they've come through a really brutal run at the moment. But they've got Birmingham at the weekend, and they've got United, Arsenal away, United again, then they've got Bristol at home, but then they've got Tottenham away as well at the end of January. So it feels like getting 3 points on the board this weekend could really dictate how they approach the rest of those matches, whether it's going to be, right, let's have a go with these, or, oh no, we haven't won there, where's the next one coming from?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, if we can use this weekend to, first and foremost, the 3 points is the main thing, of course, but try and keep a clean sheet, try and get that confidence in the back again, and build a little bit of momentum. If we could try and get like a 2-0 win or something like that, and then build from that, I think it is crucially important, as you said, like the lads on Saturday, we needed that to be a win really to stay in and amongst that kind of Champions League thing. It felt that maybe had gone a little bit too far, who knows. But yeah, I think if this isn't a win, that would be massive in terms of confidence, because you said, Arsenal would be the next league game. The next league game after that, as well as the cup, would be Manchester United. So yeah, you can't guarantee getting any points out of those 2 games because they're 2 very, very top sides. But equally, on our day, we're capable of beating anybody. So yeah, Birmingham's massive. I think we win that, and then we head into Arsenal and United feeling a lot more confident as well.
Yeah, it feels like the fortunes of the lads and the girls have aligned a lot this season, doesn't it? It's been quite strange.
It's been frustrating. Yeah, it's like whenever it's disappointing for the lads and the girls are playing the next day, I'm kind of like already going, oh, it's been that. It's been mad. Even a lot of the goals that have been scored have been at similar times from similar positions, and it's really strange. But yeah, let's hope the lads get to a cup final as well and go one further, and the girls.
Well, at least the girls beat the Reds anyway. The lads didn't still haven't managed to do that in that regard. But yeah, obviously Birmingham at the weekend, big game, as Sarah mentioned. Turn our attention to the lads who've got Chelsea at home on Saturday. I'll come to you first on this one, mate. Sort of not looking so much at this game in particular, but the run of fixtures Everton have got, which is pretty well documented. It's very, very difficult between now and we've got Sheffield United on December the 26th. But even that, when you look at it and go, they've not won a game yet, so time for Everton, etc., etc. But how are you feeling about the team at the moment, navigating these fixtures? You sort of look at it and suggest that we'll pick up a big result in one of them, but we're still capable of hitting teams who come onto us and leave space, or you're a little bit concerned about the way in which they played recently in the defensive side of the game?
Yeah, I think like Sarah said, it's kind of like there was a period in the beginning of the season where everything was going so well all over the club, and like Spirit of the Blues is in the charts, and it was just general positive vibes. But now just things have changed so much. Like I was struck actually against Burnley when Ancelotti was celebrating our goal. I thought he celebrated it really aggressively, and I was actually kind of shocked because it looked like he was relieved almost. Do you know what I mean? And he's normally so kind of cool, calm, and collected. So I think that, I'm not saying the pressure is getting to him. I'm just saying that I think the whole squad is feeling the pressure because it has to be, and the fact that fans are coming back into the stadium, I don't know. I think that could be either a catalyst for a change, or it could be just kind of a way of kind of encapsulating the mood even further, Regarding the run of fixtures, I kind of feel in some ways negative and in some ways positive, because I think that sometimes it's against the big teams that everything can kind of pick up a result or something that can, inspire a change in fortune, or kind of it can bring the best out of the competitive instincts of some of the players. Whereas in the easier runs is kind of where we tend to fall a lot of the time, I think, beating teams you should be beating. So I think Chelsea will be a big game Saturday night. I'm personally nervous about it because I watched Chelsea against Sevilla last week, and they beat them 4-0, and it was kind of a second string team almost, and they were just phenomenal. There's so much attacking talent there, and they're really beginning to gel now and get kind of confidence, so I'm personally looking forward to the game. I hope he plays 4 at the back. I think the 3 at the back experiment doesn't work with the wing backs, but I'm not even sure who's going to start at centre back. Just things seem to be so kind of unsettled in the team at the moment. I think Allen looks off the pace completely. I thought he was poor on Saturday. And I don't understand why, because I thought he was so good at the beginning of the season. I know he improved against Leeds, but still. But no, I just don't feel confident at the moment about everything, to be honest,
Yeah, and I think it's something that we spoke about before, Les, and I think when we came back from the international break, I think when we looked at the 3 games that we had in regards to Fulham, Leeds, and obviously Burnley at the weekend, you want to be going into the games in December, which is really difficult confidence. But I think what I wanted was for us to know what we're about, what way we're playing, what system we're playing, and for a few partnerships maybe to have developed a little bit further, because this is a new squad still, full of new players. And it actually feels as though we're even further away from that. Some of that's down to injuries, obviously, with the likes of Luca Dean and Seamus Coleman not being available. But a lot of it's down to the manager changing things around in regards to the system, the personnel within that system, and it all feels very fractured. And like Alan said, you won't be surprised if we went into the Chelsea game at the weekend, it was sort of completely different again.
Well, yeah, I think that's been the whole problem, hasn't it? We've sort of said we're always a bit wary of the three at the back anyway, because it never seems to work at Everton. The one at the Emirates springs to mind when Allardyce just last five at the back. How it worked, and we were 4-0 down at half time.
Mangala's debut.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. It never seems to work for us, but I think I said before, for it to work, you need your defenders to buy into it, and you need to play a settled defence. And he's played a different set of defenders every game. There's been no consistency, so no one's actually used to the formation. I think to take up the point about Alan in the middle, he's had to play in a 2, which is really difficult to do because you'd be getting no support from your wing backs, because that's not what they're there to do. They're there to do the whole flank, so they're not going to come in support, which is why I don't get the 3-4-3. I find it a really weird formation because you don't get the benefit of a solid defence or a solid midfield, or I don't know, it just doesn't sit right. And yeah, I think he's brought a lot of problems on himself, and this month now it's on Ancelotti really to sort out. I know we've had injuries, but he has made a lot of these problems himself, I think, by veering so far away from what was making us a good team in the first place when he didn't necessarily have to. So I think, he's done everything in the game. He's come up against challenges in the game. He's played and beaten some of the best teams in world football. He's now got to find a way to do it with Everton in December against some of the league's top teams. I think, as Alan said, it would be typically Everton to put in at least a dead good performance against Chelsea. Probably get beat 2-1, but put on a really good performance where we all say, do you know what? That's what we need to see. We're just not quite making it. It's just very endemic of Everton lately, isn't it? We just don't do enough. I said on Monday, didn't I? It feels like every game's a bit sort of, well, we beat Villa, we go top. Because we're just not that far away from the Champions League, but we just can't get over the line. It all feels very familiar, which I think is the worst thing about it, because I think, having Ancelotti and having the players he brought in, he's only had one window, admittedly, but having brought those players in, getting off to that good start, it felt so different to what we used to. And it all just seems to be falling back into depressingly familiar territory now.
Yeah, I think that it's this point in the season, isn't it, Sarah, where, going off what Les said there in regards to, we still feel like we are quite close to the Champions League and European football, etc., etc. But it's this part of the season where it can run away from you, isn't it? If you don't get it. Like, so we've got Chelsea on Saturday, 4 days later, we've got Leicester. 3 days after that, we've got Arsenal. 4 days after that, we've got United in the Cup. 3 days after that, Sheffield United. 2 days after that, Manchester City. 3 days after that, West Ham at home. It's game after game after game after game. And if you lose 2 or 3 of them, or 4, or 4 or 5 or whatever, then you are going to find yourself out the picture, aren't you?
Yeah, you are, unfortunately. And that's the position we find ourselves in now. And on the flip side, it's, if you get a chance to win a couple of games in the space of a few days, you can shoot yourself right back up the table again. But when you look at the fixtures that we have got, and I'm in agreement with Alan and Les here in that, I think we do definitely play better against the better teams. Something psychologically, we step up, we play better football. And like Les said, it could be a 2-1 or something where we play some nice stuff, get really close, and we kind of go, that's what we need to see more of. But and also about the system as well. I'm the same in thinking, we massively missed Richarlison. We know that he's back. Now we've got to go without Luca Dean, which is huge, and Seamus Coleman, which is huge. So having the 3 at the back with the wing backs, like Les said, you think doesn't give you the best midfield options, doesn't give you the best defense options either. And you think, I know it's Carlo Ancelotti, and obviously I'm not here to argue him, but I almost think, keep the system the same. Bring in, Nkunku and John Joe Kenny, whatever. Defensively, that's what John Joe will do. He defends. He might not offer you as much going up the pitch, but I think we're conceding goals in every single game, and then you've got a mountain to climb. You're 1-0 down against Fulham. You're 1-0 down against who've we played? Burnley.
You're just mould into one, don't you?
I was thinking of Fulham, and then I thought, were we behind in the Fulham game? Yeah, it was Leeds, Burnley. Again, we go behind in both them games, and you're like, well, now we've got to score at least twice to make sure we get the win. And it's just always that clawing back, and you think, Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the 4 at the back, keep the system as it was, help the likes of Alan out and Decore as well, who I think's dropped off the pace in the last probably month. It is a process. We know that, and he has, Ancelotti's not even been here for 12 months yet, so we need to be patient in that sense. But when there's things that to an outsider looking in just seem like, just do that, you think, just do that and let's see what we can do. But it's going to be a really, really tough December for Everton, no doubt.
Yeah. I think that for me, that it's just got to simplify it now. And sort of, there's probably 2 things which I'd say I'd be looking to do if I was the manager. It's get us close to that system that we had early in the season when they were scoring loads of goals. They weren't keeping clean sheets, but we were netting 3, 4 every, the odd 5 here and there every other week. And the other one is play fullbacks a fullback. And that might sound mad, and obviously maybe not something. But in fact, we could do it on the left hand side. He's just choosing not to do it. I imagine at the weekend Ben Godfrey will end up playing left back, and who knows, he'll play right back. But it just feels as though you've got these lads in the squad. We didn't sign replacements for Leighton Baines. We didn't sign a backup to Seamus Coleman because we had John Joe Kenny and Nkunku there. Play them, give them an opportunity to show what they can do. And it just feels at the moment, Al, that he's trying to, overcomplicate what should be simple answers to simple questions.
Yeah, I think, when he came in, the shift to the 4-4-2 that, I know Dunk obviously started it, but it was I think it was what he did when he was at, I think it was Regia in the beginning of his managerial career. And it was very much kind of back to basics. And I kind of felt like everyone was talking all this kind of rubbish about his tactical ability and saying that he was kind of more of a superstar coaxer than an actual coach. And I was hoping that what he'd do was kind of maybe introduce a very simple but effective system to Everton and just kind of upgrade the quality of players. But like you said, I just don't understand this shifting players all over the place, playing Alex Obi left wing back. It strikes me as bizarre. Like, I think when you begin a season with a squad of 23, 24, 25 players, and you have 2 left backs in the squad and 2 right backs, when one right back is missing and one left back is missing, the other should come in. I don't see why you play a centre back at left back or that kind of situation, So, I think I liked personally the 3 in midfield when you've Gomez and Decore with Alan sitting, because as Les said, that's when Alan is most effective. But then Gomez is another person who I just I don't understand, because I think I was thinking recently about him, and remember when he came in his first season, and remember he was bossing the early games, really unbelievable dribbling ability, strength, passing ability. But he looks a completely different player now. And I know the injuries taken that out of him, but he just looks so slow and so kind of even his hair is kind of so long. He looks disheveled. But he's the same player. So I just feel like I think if he was playing in good form alongside the other 2 in the central midfield, I think it would make a big difference to our prospects. But I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, these people who've let the hair grow long during lockdown need to smarten up, I think. It's terrible. It's an absolute disgrace.
If I had the luxury of the option, I would.
But do you know what, Les? I think there's something in that with Gomez where there's been matches this season where you've looked at him and thought, didn't play particularly well there, but the midfield as a whole has looked at its best when he's been in there. And I'm not talking about him playing on the right wing or whatever he did when he was at Newcastle and he had an absolute shocker that day, and Almiron just walked past him. I think when he's played as that left of the 3 and he's got a bit more freedom to get forward, opening day Tottenham he was good, Crystal Palace for the first hour he was really good. I just feel as though there's a lot more balance in the team when he's in there. And listen, he's not everyone's cup of tea, but it feels as though for the benefit of the team, certainly the other 2 lads who will potentially play in midfield with him, that giving him another run of games might be the best way to go at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just now picturing him though weirdly as late stage Koeman. No, I'm sort of getting a mix.
Everyone's turning into him. Yeah,
it's a really weird image. I think that was the mad thing about the start of the season. I've not seen an Everton team look that balanced for years. At that Tottenham game, it was like the perfect Everton performance, even right down to Dom's goal. That was like the perfect Everton goal, and I just thought, this is it. Now we're going to be decent at least, which we have been up until a few weeks ago. But it's starting to erode now, isn't it? The good feelings just starting to erode, and we're all getting a bit fed up of it all. But yeah, I think we do need the three in the middle for that balance, because there's no way Doucouré and Allen, who are essentially trying to do the same job. I think the two very similar players, really, did both sorts of box-to-box players, aren't they? Although Allen was brought in to sort of be defensive mid, it seems.
Yeah, I think if you ask them both their ideal position, they'd say right in the midfield three. I think that's where they both want to play.
Yeah, it's the new number 10, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the thing with Gomez is he seems to have lost his intensity, doesn't he? So you remember when he first came, as Alan was saying, you know, he put it about a bit and he loved the battles. And then I think you saw there was that challenge against Burnley where he sort of turned his back and it was like what Harry Kane does, but not quite as cynical as what Harry Kane does. Because I think he genuinely bottled it and turned his back. And when a player's got that weighing heavy on his mind, it's going to really lessen his impact to the team, because he's not given 100% because he physically can't, because there's something stopping him in his head. So he needs to overcome that hurdle somehow. I don't know if he can. But yeah, the team does look better balanced with him in. I'm just sort of the opinion now that we should maybe try Holgate as a holding mid, or try Godfrey as a holding mid. I mean, we can't do any worse, can we? Because the defence needs some protection. They are centre-backs who can play that midfield position. I know it could be square pegs and round holes again, but they can play that position. They would do the defensive work. That could free up Allen and Doucouré to do their box-to-box thing, and it could offer that balance again. I'd also play James Rodriguez centrally as like a 10, and I'd play two up front.
Well, Sarah, the issue with James...
If it was Hoylake, that's what I'd do.
Yeah, Les is the only person who's got a license to criticise Carlo Ancelotti at the moment, because he's actually a successful manager on the wheel.
He is.
Yeah,
but on the back of a 4-0.
Absolutely, yeah. But the one thing I was going to say, Sarah, is that when it comes to James Rodriguez, according to Gabriel Bonlahor, he's been found out now, so we may as well just sell him in January anyway, because you know he's not doing it now. You know, despite playing an unbelievable pass on Saturday, which should have won the game for us. Yeah,
I mean, well, if Gabriel Bonlahor has spoken, someone get on the phone to Carlo and tell him, send him back. It's just, I mean, what is he on about there? Let's be honest, he's had a bit of a nightmare with that comment, hasn't he? And you even think back to the week before the Leeds game, you know, it's margins, so it was offside. We know the VAR malarkey in today's game. That goal, though, that didn't count, but he put the ball in that from that angle where against Leeds, you know, that was the week before, as you just said. He should have got the pass that won us the game on Sunday. Even when we've been lackluster and we've struggled and we've not really done anything, even when for 80% of the game, 90% of the game, he doesn't do that much, he's still the one that will get those passes, that will create those goals or make something happen. You know, I don't think there's any chance that he's been found out. I think even if you think you know what he's going to do, like, he's just that good. He's one of those players that is just that good. It doesn't matter if you think, oh, he's going to do this and try and pass there. He'll do it anyway. He's brilliant. I think we've struggled with the change in formation, the change of personnel, key players being missing, and those things combined, I think, you know, has really done us over. But I'm still just, you know, absolutely elated, as we all should be, that James Rodriguez is an Everton player. It's just about getting even better players in. You know, it's going to take, I think this season now might be a bit of a frustrating one. We've still got a massive game against United in the Cup. If we win that, we're in the semi-finals of the Cup competition. We might not get Europe this season. I'd like to think we still can, and we can, but, you know, James is a player that we're going to build around over the next few seasons, no doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah, it feels to me, Al, it's just like one of those classic cases where a pundit looks at whether a player's got a goal or an assist in a game and thought, so he's not got some for a few weeks, he must be having a bit of a bad time. But I actually thought it was the best he played for a few weeks on Saturday.
Definitely. That pass for the Gylfi chance towards the end was phenomenal. But I just feel like James we know what he is, you know, like, he's a phenomenally talented footballer. He's not going to dominate every game, because if he was in that kind of form, that kind of mentality, he wouldn't be at Everton, he'd be at a Champions League club, you know. So I think that we have to put up with his flaws to kind of make use of his gifts, really. You know, I think the pros outweigh the cons by a mile, to be honest. Like, I was just thinking as well about the midfield, and I was thinking about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I don't know if you saw his performance against Arsenal on Sunday. In his performance in general this season, he looks phenomenal. He looks really, really tenacious. He looks like he would have been the ideal situation for our kind of central midfield position.
Mm.
But then also just to touch on what Sarah was saying about this season and possibly not getting Europe, like my fear is that we can have a very small window with the kind of project we have here at the moment, because like if we don't get Europe this season and Calvert-Lewin gets close to 30 league goals, will we stay? And will Richarlison stay? You know, so like I'm just kind of very negative in general at the moment, to be honest, because I'm very worried about the short term and the medium and the long term future. You know.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, because I suppose the manager himself said in the summer it's evolution, not revolution. But the signings the club made in the main indicate that it is about the short term, isn't it? You know, they signed players who are between the age of 27 and 29. Ancelotti, you'd anticipate Les is going to be here for, you know, if he's here for 3 years in total, I think that's probably about par. I'd say, you know, if you're going to make a guess in regards to what it was. So it's not as if this is going to be a 5-10 year thing. There is maybe more of an emphasis on the team getting results, you know, in the short term than there would have been, say, if we brought in a project manager, so to speak, or someone who's a little bit younger.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of our players will be on other clubs' radar. So whereas sort of Luca Dean's probably gone under everyone's radar the last couple of seasons, he's really sort of grabbed the spotlight this year, hasn't he? So there's got to be Champions League teams looking at him. Richarlison, I'm not convinced that whatever we do this season he'll stay, because he's already sort of intimated that, you know, this could be the last season. We'll see. But yeah, you're dead right. Calvert-Lewin, the clubs are going to be sniffing around him if we're not in Europe. And, you know, he's been here, what, is it 5 seasons now? So
I think so, yeah.
When he thinks, you know what, I've given the club 5 years, I've hit the ground running it finally. If I can get a move to a Champions League club, you couldn't really begrudge him, could you? After the shite he's been through with us, to be honest.
Just go on, mate. Sorry.
So yeah, it's a tricky one. I don't think we can afford to not get into Europe, really. But yeah, it's going to be very competitive, because it looks like it's a really open league this season. And I think the same with James as well. I can't see him sticking around if we don't get in Europe. One season out of Europe's going to be more than enough for a player like him. So yeah.
It's all nice and positive, this, isn't it?
This is why I think, though, with this January transfer window, now we really need to treat it like a summer one.
Yeah.
I know it's always the case that, you don't get good value, which you can sometimes. The Reds did it with Suarez and
Suarez. Yeah.
They got the two of them in January for 8 million and 20 million. So, you know, you can get good players, but I just think we need to just like throw everything at it now in January.
Van Dijk too, wasn't it?
No, for the season.
What was that? Oh, sorry, mate.
Van Dijk was January too. I know he wasn't cheap, but...
Well, yeah. So the players are there, and I think it's more the priority has got to be do the best we can this season, and if that means spending loads of money, just do it.
Only we could have the top scorer in the league and be talking about him leaving. And I'm guilty of it as well. I've been saying to people all week, how much do you reckon he's worth now if we tried to sell him in the summer, Calvert-Lewin? But yeah, hopefully he stays around for a lot longer because he's boss. Let's finish on a couple of positives. On the shows this week, Sarah, I've not really spoken about Ben Godfrey. He's had a bit of a mad start to his Everton career, but played left back for a long time at the weekend and did largely pretty well there. And the thing I like about him, which maybe I think is a bit different to the centre-backs we've got currently, probably two things really, is one is just aggression. He's got a bit of gnarl and a bit of nastiness. You know, he was shouting at James, wasn't he, at one point on Saturday when he put the ball out of play, which was an interesting one for a 22-year-old lad from Norwich to be doing that. But, you know, fair enough, you're all on the same team. But he seems to really like defending as well. He seems to really enjoy that side of the game and just, you know, getting blocks in and heading stuff away. And I just think he's right. You know, he looks like he's made of the right materials, albeit he's not played in his best position very much yet.
Well, that's another thing that makes you, you know, like this lad more, doesn't it? He's come in. There's been no qualms with him. He's going where Ancelotti's asked, wherever he's been asked to play, he's done it and he's given it his best. And there's been times where he's been caught out, and there's been times where he's struggled because he's obviously been targeted, being playing out of position, being thrown in, and it has been exploited at times. But no, when he played left back on the weekend, I thought he was probably about our best player on the pitch. Certainly right up there, you know. And like you said, the aggression of him, the fact that he's vocal, you love to see that. You want to see that. You don't want to see everyone cowering down and whinge at you, like, you know. try and get that motivation. If you're not happy with something, tell them. It's all you'd like to see that, especially against players like James Rodriguez. You know, I love that he's clearly got that authoritativeness and leadership in him. He's built like a bloody slotty machine, isn't he? The shoulders on him, do you know what I mean? He's fast. He loves a tackle. Some of the tackles he makes as well are just to perfection. And I think he's a joy to watch. And, you know, I know we've just had our little depressing moment, but I think when you look at players like Holgate, Dominic, because I think Calvert-Lewin will still be here at Everton. I think Richarlison potentially is a different matter, but I haven't even really thought about Calvert-Lewin leaving, to be honest. But the fact we've got Holgate, Calvert-Lewin, Ben Godfrey, players like that, young English talent on long-term deals as well, I think is fantastic. But yeah, Godfrey, it'd be interesting to see what him and Holgate would be like as our two centre-backs going forward. They could end up being about the best partnership in the league going in, you know, in the next few years. So that's something to be excited about. We need to sort out our defensive frailties, and Burnley, we were a lot better than we have been. So that's something. But yeah, Ben Godfrey was definitely a real bright spark on a disappointing afternoon.
Do you think you'll play at left back on Saturday, Les?
No, I sort of hope not. I think he did play really well. But I think it's one thing doing it against Burnley and another thing doing it against Chelsea. I don't know. You know, if he can play full back, I think if he can play left back, if you can play right back, he can generally play left back. He can get by. It a lot does hinge on the quality of the person you're up against, though.
Well, I think Ziyech is out, isn't he? Which is obviously a bit of a boost for us. He got an injury at the weekend and he usually plays on that right side. But no, they've only got Christian Pulisic to bring in, so
yeah.
No bother there.
I suppose the other thing is you're bringing in a relative unknown quantity in Nkunku, if we go down that route, who has played well in the League Cup games, including West Ham. So he has played against Premier League teams. But again, it's a different matter playing in the league against Chelsea. So it's a tricky one, really. I don't know what would be best to do. I think, as you said, they'll probably bring Nkunku in for me because he is a left back.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if that happened, though. Just before we speak about that game and fans being back at Goodison, Paul Hagendijk on YouTube has said, great show. Is that Mate you're drinking, Alan? I think that's the most important question of the show.
Yeah, it is.
So can you explain to people who don't know what is that? Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, it's basically it's yerba mate, right? So it's basically it's made from Argentina and Uruguay, and it's like you put like these kind of like dried herbs into like a gourd, and then you like steep it, and then you pour like hot water in, and you like put a metal straw through it and drink it. Basically, my roommates were from Uruguay and Argentina, so they got me hooked on it. Like, and I love it. Like, I drink it all day.
You always see Messi and Suarez drinking it, don't they? Yeah. When they go on trips and stuff like that.
They all do, yeah, and also even Antoine Griezmann does too, because he
pretends he's Uruguayan.
He pretends Uruguayan. His best friend's Diego Godin. So I think he's the godfather of his children and stuff. So he loves the culture. But actually, Pogba does too. A lot of top footballers do drink it because obviously the Latin American culture is strong in football, you know. But it's really good. It's like caffeine, but it's not as like harsh as coffee. It's more like kind of a gradual buzz throughout the day, you know. So it's ideal for like working from home or something like.
Get the lads on it. Get the lads on it.
Yeah, hopefully they're selling that at the match on Saturday.
Yeah,
so you've got so many South American players now. Why not?
True. We've no Argentinians though. It's mainly like Argentina and Uruguay, and then like South Brazil. But we don't have. Colombia isn't really mate drinking, and neither is where Alan and Richarlison are from, or Bernard.
There you go. I'm going to give that a go, I think.
Oh, I can just see you on Saturday match just saying to Mose, you get the pre-match mates in, lad.
Oh yeah. Contact Alan if you've got any mate questions on Twitter. I'm sure he'll be there to answer it. But just finally, going to be 2,000 Blues back at Goodison Park on Saturday. It's exciting, isn't it, Les? You know, this is starting to take place now. Obviously, the club have put out a little video today for those who are going and what they need to do in regards to social distancing and the test and all that, which I think is really important. But it's just, you know, I think a month ago it didn't look like we'd be in this situation. So it's, you know, just puts a smile on your face thinking about the prospect of being back at Goodison Park again soon.
Yeah, it's a small step, but it's a significant one, isn't it? And you kind of think, you know, if we could get to the stage where we can get 4,000 in the ground, even better. But I think the way they're doing it, if you got tickets for Chelsea, then you'll be out of the ballot until everyone's had a go, I think, isn't it? So it's a fair way of doing it. So everyone should get a go within the next month, really. We should all get to Goodison in December, which is dead exciting. And you'd be surprised how much noise 2,000 people can make as well, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, especially when they
so loud.
Yeah, especially when they all boo in unison. It's
especially when they've been on the mate pre-match.
That's going to be the big takeaway. I've got so many questions. It's a shame we're gonna run out of time here. Can't wait for that at the weekend. But yeah, we are out of time today, as I said. Thanks very much to Sarah, Les, and Alan. Really enjoyed that show. We're back later in the week with What's the Score. Les will find someone to do that, but like I said, I'm going to be good. We're in the top balcony though, row M, so going to be cold.
That's me, top balcony. That's go and sit in my seat for me.
Just check it's still there.
Check it's still there. Give it a little say hello to it. Tell it I miss it.
But yeah, Les will be doing What's the Score before that game. Like as ever, you're going to hear more from us. The Blue Room Extra is always there. Multiple shows each weekday building up to and analysing all of Everton's games. That's patreon.com/The Blue Room Extra. Well, thanks very much for watching or listening tonight.